Right, we're finished and we're going, right?
Because deadly assault, blah, 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 blah. You need.
And we're saying that anyone saying that this is an issue is a stupid.
This video is not for whales and dolphins, it's for you because you are just like me, Average Type Gamer here, and today I want to talk about HP inflation in Zenless Zone 0. Because at the moment, there are two sides to the argument of HP inflation in Zenless Zone 0, and side number one is saying that HP inflation is really bad, it makes the game really hard to clear right now, and side number two is saying that you just suck at the game and you need to get better. And here's the thing. I think we're looking at this argument in a very black and white way, and I think the truth actually exists somewhere in between. And we'll talk about why HP inflation is here, why it's not going to go away, and what's actually going on in the game right now. So here we go. This is a graph that represents the HP in Shiyu defense for Shiyu 7, which is the highest floor of Shiyu defense over, since the start of the game up to basically now. And this is why we have to acknowledge that HP inflation itself is undeniably a thing that exists in Zenless Zone 0. And this is because HP started down here at 14 million HP, roughly speaking, and is now over 28 million HP for the enemies on floor 7 of Shiyu defense. Now, let me just talk through the reasons why this has happened, and it might start to make a little bit more sense. But at the start of the game, the balance was clearly not correct. Everyone referred to the game as left-click simulator. It was incredibly easy, and it needed to change. So there was change. It kind of moved up, and then maybe they think that they corrected it too fast, and then it kind of moved back down, and then it starts to go up again. Now, something else that we need to talk about that happened quite early on at the start of the game is that we also had new drive disk sets introduced in 1.2, which also increased, the potential damage output of our teams. Then, same thing happened again in 1.4. We got more new drive disk sets, as well as the fact we had the decibel changes. So instead of just having one character being able to use an ultimate, we now had 3 characters being able to use an ultimate, which I think is honestly still something that they're balancing for right now, because they're not really sure how high they can push the HP because of the change to the way that decibel system works. And lastly, we did also get more drive disks in 1.6. So we've had a bunch of stuff kind of thrown at us, as well as new characters every single patch since the start of Zenless Zone 0. And I'm not saying this to invalidate the opinion that the HP inflation is kind of aggressive right now. I agree. I do think that HP inflation is kind of aggressive right now. It is going up. It is going up pretty quickly. That's something that we should talk about. But it's kind of gone from being an easy game for everyone to being a little bit harder for the people who are kind of halfway dedicated to building some of their characters. And the reason why I'm being so non-committal on that is that because you don't have to be super good at the game in order to enjoy it and play the endgame modes. You just kind of have to have a basic understanding of what you're doing. I do a lot of account help and account reviews.
Your boy clear with E0, A0, everywhere, by the way. Hey, that's your tourist right there. That's your tourist right there. And well, like on Caesar King, W tourists, absolutely.
And the number of times that they go into people's accounts and they're like, I just don't know why my Chingy's not stunning that quickly. And they're not even running an impact on their disc 6. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, then it sounds like you might need some account help.
Well,
Follow over on Twitch. But this HP inflation concern is not invalidating the opinion of someone who is concerned about the future of Zenless Zone 0 because of the way that this is currently going. And telling people that they're bad at the game and they need to get better isn't helping with the argument from the other side. HP inflation is aggressive, and pointing the fingers at players with perfect discs and flawless execution that are clearing with A ranks is just not helping anyone. Let's face it, the game has got harder, and that is by design. And let's also be clear as well that HP inflation is kind of the laziest way to implement a difficulty change in a game that is mostly time-based in terms of how much damage you're going to do. Because the higher you push that HP, the more spongy the enemies are going to be, and therefore the longer it's going to take for you to clear. But just quickly before we move on, this is your reminder that you probably aren't subscribed. Liking and subscribing is a great way to support creators like me on YouTube. You can also drop me a follow over on Twitch and join the Discord if you want to hang out with some cool, chill peeps who just like talking about Zenless Zone 0. So moving back on over to HP inflation, I think Hoyoverse right now are in a balancing act. And that balancing act is that they want to keep the player base that they've created around Zenless Zone 0. And by continuously making the game ever so slightly harder with every update, they are doing that. They're going to keep them playing and pulling for better drive discs and pulling for new characters. But the problem is that how do they then onboard new players? Because that onboarding new player journey, when you come in from finishing the story and then jumping into endgame content, which is so far and above what you're capable of achieving, is a huge gap. And
Me Bubba. Yep. Or like the equivalent, basically. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because HP inflation is always gonna go up. In order to make it such that the new players are still gonna be able to play this game, new units would be released that is stronger than last time. Otherwise, how are you gonna expect a new player to ever play the end game, right? Like, you get what I'm saying? Can you imagine if they made a unit the exact same as Anware for like the entire world, for like the entirety of Zenless Zone Zero, but like they just made this kind of games to like appeal to the core audience, to increase difficulty? Then how is a new player ever gonna catch up? You know what I'm saying?
I think for me, I kind of hope that as we head into season 2, that we see maybe more new mechanics for bosses or interesting combat styles that kind of shake things up a little bit and prevent us from needing to push the HP up any higher. Because if it does continue to go up, yeah, sure, we might keep the very engaged sections of the player base, but we're going to lose that more casual audience. And that is hugely important for a gacha game. They need to answer that question of how far can they push the players. And just to demonstrate my point as well, and this is like obviously just a snapshot, but just in terms of Twitch viewership, Zenless Zone Zero has been steadily dropping off since the December Miyabi update. Sure, yeah, it was pretty popular back in July, August when the game first launched. Then we had another peak back up in December again. And now, since then, it's just been dropping off. In Season 2, I'd hope that this would go up quite a lot more again, which would be great to see for Zenless Zone Zero and for me as someone who loves Zenless Zone Zero and also enjoys playing it as well. So from this tiny snapshot, it does look to me that Zenless Zone Zero right now is bleeding engaged players, and we kind of need a way to recapture them. And if we start bringing people back in Season 2 and then they get to endgame and we're, at a projected idea of 32 million, let's say, in Season 2, yeah, we probably just lose them again. And that's a real balancing act and something that Hoyoverse has got to deal with. And to be clear, they have way more data than I do. They know how many players are going to be playing on the daily. They know how many players are checking in. It just seems that interest right now in Zenless Zone Zero is down, and I hope that if interest does peak back up again in Season 2, that they're able to keep those players. And honestly, to do that, those players have to be able to push into endgame a little bit. And to bring things back to the elitism or you suck at the game argument, you probably don't. But these games are marathons and not sprints. And the number of times that I'll log into an account and I'll just feel that the account just isn't quite ready to fully clear endgame. And it's not that there's anything wrong with your skill. It's just that a lot of your characters just aren't built out for that third team yet. It takes a long time to build characters in Zenless Zone Zero, and maybe that is part of the problem, but it is a marathon. And if you built a character back in 1.0, 1.1, and now you're feeling their build is kind of lackluster, it might be that they now have new drive discs. It might be that you left placeholder discs back on them when you originally built them. So most of the time when I go in and I fix accounts, it's character build issues and team building issues that are responsible for people not being able to clear. Or
Is that the same as drafting, bruh? Just draft better, Like, holy shit, why the fuck would you run into this exact same team when this guy's literally the counter of your unit, right? Yeah, just draft.
Or you just need a few more weeks of logging in and farming your chips or sending your battery charge on drives. Ultimately, though, the Zenless Zone Zero dev team have said that they're going to be making buffs in 2.0, and they also specifically said that they don't want to just needlessly inflate HP on enemies. But actions speak louder than words. So we'll see what happens as we head into Season 2.
Very
this
nice.
whole thing is that, yes, HP inflation has been aggressive. There's no reason for that. There are reasons for why the HP has gone up. It has maybe been a tad aggressive, though, but I think that's to kind of balance out the fact that everyone's saying that the game was easy, and now no one's really saying that anymore. But also, to be clear, you also don't suck at the game. It's normally just a...
Nah, you just suck. Bro, you can't even clear Shiyu 7. You either suck at playing the game or you suck at building units, bro. Hey, I'm on a Clip channel, so I can say whatever the fuck I want to say, right? Yeah, we're on a Clip channel. Clip channel is like the chaotic Poke arc.
Surely we're not getting cancelled with this one.
So it is what it is, you know? It is
Very
what it is.
small knowledge gap or build gap or something. And could you potentially learn a tiny bit
It's
more?
like, oh my god, you suck at Elden Ring. Cry me a fucking river. Okay, you suck at playing a game. Is it end of the road? Is it that bad to just admit that you just suck at the game? Like, holy shit, man, chill.
About the way
Chill,
a particular
Zaddy.
buff works for your drive discs or something like that in order to just push you over the edge and get the clear? Yes.
Yeah,
almost
I
definitely.
suck at Seal
But it's-
Slammers. Okay, first of all, I don't suck at Seal Slammers. Second of all, yeah, I suck at Zenless Zone Zero. Alright, I suck at Zenless. I suck at Wuthering. I suck, and it just genuine does not matter. So like, why are people just taking so much fucking offense to this, right? Very, very good video. I love this. I love the Clip channel now. We're just okay. You know what? We're gonna say whatever the hell we want to say on the Clip channel. Clip channel. Subscribe to the Clip channel to see a more unfiltered side of MrPokke, right? Greedy and stupid guy. Davidson guy. But boom. See you guys there. Right, boom. Bye. You have cooled your last cool, my man.